lovely people, and welcome to the Adventures of Yarnia, episode 8, she says, having a cheeky look at the new board. Do you like the board? I'm Rachel, and welcome back to the podcast if you are a returning viewer. Welcome if you're new here. It's funny because so often, I watch quite a few podcasts and they tend to begin, it's been X number of weeks or months since my last podcast, which feels a bit confessional, doesn't it? But as those of you who are coming back will know, it's been quite a while since I've sat here and done a podcast for you, with you, to you, filmed a podcast. So what I will say is, grab yourself a brew if you haven't already. I am on Earl Grey today, even though it's a mug that talks about coffee. And settle in because I have quite a lot to share because it has been quite a long time, and I may talk about that a little bit later on as reasons why, but for now I think we should jump straight into the crochet and knitting and sewing and making all of the things after I've talked about my jumper which I did not make, but I want to mention because this I saw the very lovely Ali over at Little Drops of Wonderful with this jumper on, and I was like, I need that jumper please, where can I get one? And I was like, where she got that from? Anyway, Google image search to the rescue, I found it. It was from Sugar Hill in Brighton, and I absolutely love it because rainbows and stars and things just make me happy. So there you go. So I'm going to grab a mouthful of the tea. I'm sort of snugged up against my chest of drawers here because I wanted to have the kind of the set feel, but we'll see how it goes for filming. And yeah, I'm faffing with my hair because it's been rainy today and my hair doesn't like the rain. Okay, so I'm going to start with small things and then I shall show you my slightly larger things and then bigger things. So I've got quite a few pairs of socks that have been finished since our last podcast, and to be honest with you, because I didn't want you to be sat here for 5 hours, I've decided just to pick out like the most recent ones, so the ones that have been finished off sort of 2019 or very late 2018, and the first of which is my Christmas socks. So these are my lovely Christmas socks. The yarn is London House Yarns in Victorian Christmas, and the mini, it's not the matching mini that it came with because it came with this colour as the mini. The mini I think was a Lamington Lass little mini skein. So I saw this colourway on the Stranded Dye Works podcast with Amy Florence. It's funny, you can't just call her Amy, it has to be Amy Florence, because she's Amy Florence of Ravelry, and I feel like I could tell you what type of circular sock machine she has by now. Absolutely love her podcast, go and check it out if you haven't already. And I saw her with a pair of socks in this colourway, not this Christmas, the Christmas before, and I was like, I need those, they're amazing. So I stalked the London House Yarns Instagram and website as one does, and managed to get some in an update. And I just got their petite feet sock set. So I think it's a 50 gram and a 20 gram. Could be wrong, but I think that's right. Either way, I find that then what I do is I knit toe up, and I knit until I've done 25 grams, thereabouts. And then I start the cuff. Afterthought heel, true afterthought heel no less, may I add, where you go in on the actual yarn, you don't put any waste yarn in at all. Absolutely love doing them like that, and my last few pairs of socks have been that way, so there we go. So that is my first pair of socks. Although I'm only showing you one, but I promise you there's another one. I just picked the best one to show you. Next up was a pair of socks, or is a pair of socks for my lovely hubby. They are so big that the sock blocker has nearly disappeared inside. So these are knit in a DK weight. I did, what's hard, 26, I did 52 stitches on a 4mm needle, and it's an opal yarn. I think it's the Winterspieler colourway that they have, Wintermond, and it is because he's got a very, very high arch. I did do a slip stitch heel flap and gusset and did all the decreases and everything, and I was quite impressed because although I've not got it on a blocker, the pair to this does actually pretty much match, and I was quite pleased because I wasn't trying to do that, it just sort of happened. Happy accidents. So yeah, so he's got really high arches and he's already been wearing these almost to death, so yes, I'm glad that he likes them though, because yeah, you can't beat hand knit socks, can you? Okay, quick slip of tea. So on a note of socks, this here is my sock box, and I wanted to get so that I had 12 pairs of socks, and I did do that, so I'm quite pleased. It's actually 2 years since I started knitting socks now, and I do have more than 12 pairs now. Not by many though, but I'm really pleased because it was just a little goal that I had to make 12 pairs of socks, and yeah, I have yarn for far more than 12, but happiness comes in skeins. So my final pair of socks to share with you, because I'm wearing another pair, but you know, they were finished ages ago, so I'm not showing you them, are a pair, and they're on my nice Ainsworth and Prim sock blockers. And they are these, and this is the Winter's Frost pattern, which is a free pattern on Ravelry, and the lace goes down either side, so they are footed socks. There is a right and a left. I'll tell you more about that shortly. But I'm so pleased with them, and they are knit in the Apple Blossom colourway from Down Sheepy Lane, which I bought at Yarndale last year. So yay, getting some of the Yarndale stash knit up. And I purloined a little mini, this green, which was with another self-striping from Down Sheepy Lane called Baubles, I think it is. But it obviously matches the green, so I just went, you know what, I'll have that. Coming up a little bit more neon on camera than they actually are in real life. I have to say they are a little brighter than I probably ideally like, but I love the speckledy stripes, they're just so lovely. And I love this lace pattern. Really, really easy little pattern. It's just knits and yarn overs and, you know, easy. So yeah, and then for the heel, again, true afterthought heel, so I went in and cut, and I made the mistake of doing the second heel in Costa whilst having coffee with a friend. Can you guess what I did? That's right, I had 2 left feet. I managed to put the heel on the right hand one in the wrong place. So I had to Kitchener it back together and then go and cut the rest of the stitches. But never mind. Actually the join, the graft is come out really, really nicely. You can't even tell that I made a mistake on them. So yay for the Kitchener stitch. And again, really happy with them. The mini for those was from River Knits, and again was bought at Yarndale to go with this yarn. So those are my Apple Blossom socks. I do have a Ravelry page, project page for them. You can find me on Ravelry as RP Blundell, so have a look on there if you haven't already found me. And yeah, they've got like a rounded toe type affair, which is quite comfortable. First ones I've done with like a really roundy toe, so happy days. So my next finished project is a shawl, and I think I was quite far on with this last time I podcast. Let me just sort this out on the hanger because I think I've hung it up back to front. Yes, I have. This is the Impressionists shawl by Helen Stewart, and it is a semicircular shawl. It's knitted, and it was done as a mystery knit along, and it is so beautiful. I loved knitting this. It was the biggest thing that I'd knitted at this point, and also the most complicated, because I think I spoke last time a little bit about the fact that I'd made mistakes on the lace, but hey, whatever. And I just absolutely love it. So it's been washed and blocked. It's knit in Norah George yarns, in her merino silk singles. Say it 10 times fast. And I think the colourways was apple blossom, cherry blossom, and I want to say peony, maybe. So really, really lovely, really enjoyable. Took me a long time, but I'm really pleased because it's gorgeous. And yeah, I just, oh, the colours in this yarn are just amazing. Just absolutely amazing. Ignore the horrendous mistakes, but hey, I don't mind, it makes it unique. And then my other finished shawl that I have to share is a Hotel of Bees shawl, which is the pattern is by Christina Hadderingh, and this it's a paid pattern on Ravelry, and this is it. It's an asymmetrical shawl. You work from the, oh, do you? You start at the widest edge, which is really, really good, because then you're like working down, working down, working down. However, it does mean that if, like me, you go, it's written for sport weight, oh, I've got this nice fingering weight, I'll use that. That obviously you do end up with a shorter shawl and you can't extend it because you've started with your chain. So this is knit in a Beehive yarns, is this darker one, which is just so gorgeous, blowing out a little bit, sorry. And then this one here is another Norah George, and it is her Christmas colourway. And the names of those escape me, I'm sorry. I'm useless at remembering things. My memory's been terrible lately, but that's why I have a planner. So it's got lots of all the little sections are supposed to, sorry, I'm happily showing you it back to front as well, which isn't very good, representing different things to do with bees. So you've got like, this section is meant to be bee wings, then you've got honeycomb, then you have like actual little puff stitches that are meant to look like a bee. So if you see, like, you've got the wings and the body, so cute. And then again, more bigger honeycomb. So first time I've done filet crochet as well, which was okay. Can't say it's my favourite thing. I think I just don't like it to look at, but it does show off a nice speckled yarn. And then what have we got then? Then we've got more wings, more small honeycomb, more bees, honeycomb, and so on. So, and it goes all the way to there. So it's quite nice. It is quite small. If I just show you it on, so I tend to wear it just around and then tucked around that way, and then I've got a really nice shawl pin that I use there, so you kind of get this coming across. So there we are. So my final finished project to share with you is a big one. And yeah, it's this. It's a blanket. Told you it's big. Or is it a cushion? It's comfy either way. It's very comfy. And it is the Attic 24 crochet along for 2019. It is the Sweet Pea blanket in the colour wash version, because Lucy, who some of you may know, I have done work on stickers for her crochet alongs before, because she's a planner girl, yay! She designed 2 colourways for her blanket this year. So we had the colour wash one, which I'm not going to unroll this for a moment, but you can kind of see how it goes from the greens all the way through to lighter colours, and then right round to the deeper, brighter pinks and purples. And then there was one that she called the Posy colourway, where it's more the what you kind of expect from Lucy in terms of the random colour order of stripes and things. So both are really lovely, and I'm wondering about putting a Posy in my future at some point. We'll see. So stitch pattern, the pattern, everything, because the KAL has now finished. It's all available on her blog for free. free because she is awesome like that. And the stitch pattern is called the Wisteria, no, Sweet Pea Trellis. I don't know why it, oh, Wisteria Trellis, or the Wisteria Way. There was something to do with wisteria and trellises that I made. Strange moment. So if I just show you here, and you can see the stitch pattern, and it has this idea of you've got like the little bouquets of flowers with the structure of the trellis in between. So really, really easy pattern. Very, very sort of very rhythmical, really easy, nice, relaxing crochet, and I just loved working on this. I had so much fun with it. It's been great. And every week I was there going, right, come on, what's the next colours, what are the next colours? Even though I could sort of work it out from the photo, because the other thing that she did this year, which I thought was brilliant, was show you the full blankets for both colourways. Now they were sort of, you had to click the link to get to them, so it didn't spoil the surprise for those who like the surprise of a crochet along as it goes, waiting to find out. But it did mean that, you know, for me, I wasn't sure about posy or colour wash, and so it was really good to be able to see it and make that decision. The only change that I made was on the border. Sorry, Lucy. But she never minds. And her border is, again, it kind of has a trellis feel to it and lots of little bouquets. And I just felt that because I had that in the pattern, I wanted something a bit simpler. And so I went for a linen stitch border. I'll show you there. And with the way that the colours went, it's sort of come out like little flowers, which I think looks really sweet. So yes, I am very, very happy with this. It's the single bed size, incredibly squishy, Stylecraft Special DK, and I used a 4mm hook. Sorry, I'm tickling because I think the cat's been on the blanket. Oh dear. I used a 4mm hook, which is the sort of recommended hook for a 4mm, but a 4 DK weight, sorry. But again, Lucy's got all the information on her blog about making a tension swatch, about making a little sample to double check what you need to do. And yeah, I would really recommend it. There's also the very lovely Facebook group, which used to be Attic24 Moreland and More, and I think is due to change its name shortly, but is remaining a Lucy and Attic24 focused crochet kind of group. It's grown massively, and which is just fantastic. And it's a really nice group, really lovely place to sort of go and see what other people are hooking and what you're doing. So there you go. My final finished things is some sewing, and as you may know from previous podcast episodes, last year I had an aim, a goal if you will, of learning to make my own project bags using my mum's old sewing machine. I say old, it is 20 odd years old. Still excellent though, just what you need. So I managed to do that, and I learned to make project bags, and I came up with some designs that I was happy with, based on the Finch Bucket design, which is by Jade from Stitch Mischief. She also has a podcast, is on Instagram, so go and check her out too. And I did actually make some to sell towards the end of last year, and I put them in my shop online. And thank you so much to everyone who bought one, and for all the lovely comments about how well made they were and how you really have been enjoying them. You know, that really got to me. I was so pleased. So my friend has a birthday next week, and she doesn't watch the podcast, I don't think, so I can tell you about this. And she said for a while that she fancies making socks. She's the one I was sat in Costa with when I messed up the heel on the apple blossom socks. Anyway, so I thought, I know, I've got plenty of yarn. So I shall start a pair of socks off for her and give her that with a basic pattern, all as a little present. And then I thought, and I'll make her a project bag to put it in. Well, one project bag being cut out turned into about 14 or 15 being cut out, because once I got going, I was like, oh, I want to make one in that fabric. Oh, I want to make one in that fabric. So all of my current kind of works in progress are in new project bags, which is very nice. And I also have a little stack of them to pop in the shop as well. So I'm going to pop these in. Ooh. Right, at the time of filming, I'm not sure when I'm going to put these in the shop. It will be in the description down below, because obviously I've got to get them photographed and things. So I will put a note in the description box below, okay, about when they'll be in the shop. But let me just share with you the ones that are going to be for sale, and then as we go through my works in progress I can show you the other ones that I made, because it's just been so much fun. So I had this lovely spring fabric in the lilac, and so I made a little zipper pouch in that. So that's the other new thing, been playing with zips. So there's this one with a little pocket inside. They're all fully lined, fully interfaced, so they're not thick or, you know, sort of squidgy, but they will stand quite nicely. And generally I tend to make ones that are a perfect size for socks. So then we have this one with like the, I think it's called Grandma's Garden, this fabric. It's so pretty with the gnomes and the cat and everything. And so we've got purpley one, greeny one with a zip, and then a drawstring one as well. And the fabric for that, oh, I love the lining on that one with the green, with the purple and the green. So pretty. And then another little zipper pouch. I have an Oceans pouch in this that I've been using for ages. And then a couple of drawstrings in this as well. And did I put pockets on these? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. No, they've not got pockets. But again, have a look at the inside fabric. Oh, I've discovered that fabric is, and buying fabric is really, really fun. Quite dangerous for the bank account as well, but you know, it is fun. And then one last little purple one in Grandma's Garden. So yeah, I've been really, really pleased with those. They're perfect for a sock project, or if you're doing something like where you are crocheting lots of little motifs to then join together for a bigger project. They're brilliant for just having that in your handbag for a bit of on-the-go crochet or knitting. So there you go. Right, on to works in progress. So I am on a mission this year, she said, to get my number of works in progress or projects on the go. Projects on the go, works in progress. I've still never decided what I like to call them. Down a bit. So I am trying to finish off a few things whilst also being tempted to start all of the things. Isn't that always the way? So the first thing that I have to show you, I reckon I only have this much left to knit up into it. It is my Dotted Rays shawl, which is by Stephen West, and it's living in this project bag, which is so pretty. So I think that's husband coming home. He's probably realised he forgot the shopping list. So it's living in this project bag, which is a slightly larger bag, with a very, very, very wide boxed bottom. Sorry, couldn't resist saying that because on the last one I think I kept saying it about 10 times. So this is the Dotted Rays. It's on a super short needle at the moment because I was getting fed up with having to shove my stitches around all the time. And it's a pattern by Stephen West, and you can kind of see what I've been doing here. This sort of rainbow of gorgeous, gorgeous, squishy DK in garter stitch wonderfulness, quite frankly. All the yarn is from Cuddlebums. It was a sort of monthly subscription that I had last year, and not all the months are in here though, and I've just been really enjoying it. I love it when you get a rainbowy section. Let me find a rainbowy bit. And I had a bit where the rainbows lined up as well, and that was really, really fun. She says trying to find one. Okay, that's not rainbows lined up, but you know, you can see like the rainbowy bits. There we go. It's just It's just been really fun to knit on because of the yarn. So it's very much, it's definitely a process knit, this one at the moment for me. I'm hoping that will be enough to finish it off and do, I think it's an I-cord bind off, which I've never done before. So that should be fun. All nearly 400 stitches of it. So yeah, so I'm hoping to get that finished in, by the next time I podcast, which I am going to say, I promise it won't be as long this time. So there we go, let me tuck that one away. Pop it down there. You should see in front of me, it is just like crochet and knit Mageddon or whatever, and my hair's doing its weird thing again. Ah, never mind. Okay, next little work in progress is living in one of these little bags, the spring bunny ones, and it is a pair of fingerless gloves for my dad. But Rachel, didn't you already make a pair of fingerless gloves for your dad a little while ago? Yes, I did, and he lost one of them. So he gave me the first one back, or the one remaining one back, and like the good daughter that I am, I went in my stash, tried to find the yarn that I had, thought I'd found it, started knitting. It's just been a bit of a disaster, really. Look at that. It's completely the different colour, completely the wrong size. Not impressed with myself at all. So I've tried it on, and his hands are actually a similar size to mine. Quite small. It's quite slim hands for a man. So I'm going to get him to try it on and see if it fits. And if it does, I will knit its pair. If it doesn't, I'm probably going to cry for a bit, because it's not a quick thing to make for me, I find, with gloves and things. And then I will start again. So again, hopefully I will get that finished in the next month or so. Okay, we're now on whip 3 of 4 that I've currently been working on in the last sort of couple of weeks. And so it's living in this bag, which was holding my sweet pea blanket until recently. So I finished it, surprisingly enough. And I started a sort of scrappy granny stripe blanket using fingering weight mini skeins, and it's just, oh, it's so pretty. So I have in here, I have loads of different mini skeins. Some of them I've got wound up ready, others are not ready at all. And the other thing that I'm doing with it is I decided that I wanted to put in some bands of just plain trebles. I don't know if I'm going to put them regularly or at random. I might do it at random when I get to a section I'm like, oh, I want to change colours but it's not quite working. And that is in Debbie Bliss Baby Cashmerino, and it is the, oh, which colour is it? I'm trying to see here. Oh, that's useful. 340065. I think it's just the natural or accrue or whatever it's called. Anyway, so this is just really lovely. It's got, you know, not done masses so far, but it's got lots of little minis in, and some of them are leftovers from socks. And then, as ever, when you start something, you start seeing mini skeins everywhere, and you're like, oh, they're pretty, oh, that one's pretty, and they come home to live with you, and you end up with a bag that's, for not much blanket, is quite full. So my final work in progress that I want to share with you is another whopper. It's living in this bag. Which is so big, I can't even get it in shot, I don't think. Which is an Erin Condren tote bag, by the way, which I believe they are discontinuing. So if you want one, head over there now and make sure you get one. and it is the Ubuntu crochet along, which was designed by Deirdre, sorry I can't pronounce your second name, who designed Sophie's Universe as well, which, as you may remember, I have made, and it's a whopper. This, I'm making it in Stonewashed XL from Shepshes, so it's Aran weight, and yeah, we're just gonna have to kind of, I'm just going to disappear for a minute, and I don't even think I've got very much of it in shot. So you make, I'll talk about construction in a minute. So I chose my own colours, she says, having completely disappeared behind a wall of blanket. Alright, okay, that'll do. So if I just hold it here, shall I, and sort of talk like this. So you make these 6 central diamonds first of all, and on the original pattern they're all different colours. I decided to make mine in a palette of green, purple and blue with 2 shades for each of those, and then the neutral around. So my diamonds look different to the pattern because they're made in a solid colour, whereas I've added in a little bit of the neutral and then alternated the colours, which I think looks really, really nice. I'm really pleased with it. Then you make 6 diamonds. Then you make 6 half diamonds, triangles. How do you have half a triangle? It'd just be a triangle. Can you cut a triangle in half without making it into 2 triangles? Yeah, of course you could. Yeah, because if you went off the area... I just had to change the battery, so that was great continuity, wasn't it? Anyway, cutting a triangle into shapes other than 2 triangles. Yeah, because you could go down here and you'd get like a quadrilateral and a triangle. Anyway, brilliant pattern. Very, 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 very fun. I've now joined all of it, obviously, and I think I've done the first all the way round. Yes, and I'm on my second one all the way around, which is a row of back post trebles, oh my goodness me, around this enormous thing, which I'm going to have to put down because it weighs a ton. So I've not worked on that for a while. It was my in the car crochet shortly after Christmas, because we were travelling all the way up to Scotland, quite a way up Scotland as well. It involved a ferry, and so I was working on the diamond, so I had that in the car, which was great. As I said, the yarn is Shepshes Stonewashed XL, and I shall just show you what that sort of comes like. Comes in 50-gram balls, like this. It's 70% cotton, 30% acrylic, and it is incredibly soft and squishy and lovely to work with. I'm using a 5mm hook for mine. Again, she has you do a swatch, a gauge swatch, to check what you need. And I had a bit of a play with colours for the triangles, which means that I've actually ended up with some spare triangle bits. Oh dear, I kid you not, I think I made the triangle 5 times before I was happy with where the colours were and how it was going to be placed. Should have just bought the kit and done it that way, shouldn't I? But I really wanted to make it in those colours because I just wanted to use my own colours, so there you go. So that is it for finished projects, works in progress. Yeah, oh my gosh. Wow, I don't think we've even hit an hour yet, or have we? I'm not sure, I'll have to see. We've definitely hit I need some more tea. Speaking of tea and podcasts, I've recently been watching the Tea and Possibilities podcast, which is hosted by Nikki, who is really fun, and I can't believe that she's as old as she says she is. I'm like, no. Yeah, I've decided that children clearly age you greatly. Anyhow, let me have a chat with you now about a couple of things that I have purchased. how I'm using my planner to help with my projects, and a couple of things that I have in mind for the future. So let's start with these little piles here. So I was very, very good in January. I don't think I bought any yarn. I made up for it in February, and I have bought a few skeins lately. So let me share those with you. The first one is this amazingness from Pixie Yarn. It's called Sanctuary. It's a fingering weight, and it is just gorgeous. It's sparkly and beautiful. It smells good. And it is a 75 merino, 25% nylon, 5% silver stellina, which is quite clever because that's actually 105%. I love it when you get typos like that. It makes me chuckle. I'm sorry, but it does. This is going to grow up to be a pair of socks, and it's going to probably be just that bit there. Oh my goodness me. Oh. And I can't decide whether to do a plain vanilla sock, because I've no socks on the needles now, or whether to make, I'm wondering about doing the Beatrix Potter Sock Club, which is by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears podcast. So yes, and that is quite similar to the one that she used for Jemima, I think anyway. So it's beautiful and multicoloured with a base of blue. So then I've got some self-striping from the Yarn Badger. This is Fallen Leaves, and you can see kind of the colours that are in that. And obviously in a skein you can't see quite how the stripes are going to go, but rest assured it's going to be beautiful. And again, it's sparkly, which makes me very happy. The very lovely Catherine over at Afternoon Treats had a shop update recently, and one of the things that she had was the last of her South Atlantic Silky base. I think that's what she said, that it was the last of it. I had a skein on this base. It's 75% UK merino, 25% mulberry silk. And I can't remember what it was called. It was something, it looked like a cloud. It was gorgeous. It might have even been called Cloud, I'm not sure. I loved it anyway. And I still have a little bit of it left. And I saw this, which is called South Sea Pearls. And I thought, do you know what? I think the two may work together and turn into a really lovely shawl or something for up here. And finally, it's my other favourite, Norah George, who after a bit of a break, I think she's been on holiday and things, started dyeing and having shop updates again every Saturday at 8 PM GMT. And this is Elizabeth Bennet. Bet you didn't know that Elizabeth Bennet was the skein of yarn, did you? It is so lovely. I adore Jane Austen novels, okay? There is a reason my children are called Eleanor and Elizabeth, and well, there's several reasons, but one of them is that they are my two favourite Jane Austen heroines. So there you go. And actually they're quite similar. That's funny. That's really funny. Anyhow, the other reason that Eleanor is called Eleanor is because mine and my husband's initials is L and R. Sorry, Eleanor. And Elizabeth is just a great name. Plus it meant that after delivery, when the midwife is going, and how are you spelling that? You can go in your post-labour, post-delivery state like the Queen. Anyway, so this is Elizabeth Bennet in a skein of yarn. It's on her BFL sock, so it's 80% superwash blue faced Leicester, 20% nylon, and it is just lovely. I love Norah, Tracy's yarn. So much so that I had her advent calendar for Christmas, well, for December. And oh my goodness me, I had so much fun every day opening up that little package and seeing what colour was coming. And that's the next thing I wanted to talk about, was things that I have planned. So in this bag, which I made, can you tell that I really like this fabric? I have got my Norah George Advent Calendar yarns plus a skein of cloud, and it does feel like a cloud, which is just, it's a baby Surrey alpaca and mulberry silk. It's amazing. I have plans for this. Let me just show you a couple of the skeins that came in the Advent calendar. It basically moved through the spectrum, and so there are some, oh, look at this one. Oh my gosh, amazing. Amazing, amazingness. Come on, focus, focus, focus. Seriously, focus on the amazingness, camera. There we go. I think we're in. Just so beautiful. But it went through the full spectrum. This one my daughter Eleanor has tried to steal from me several times. I'm like, no. Even down to things like this. Oh, are we in? Yeah. Just so gorgeous. And I don't know if I actually took a photo of it all laid out, all 24 of them. I will have to do that, and if I do, I'll insert the photo for you. But I'm planning on holding this and this together, and it's either going to be a Land of Sweets cowl, which is another Helen Stewart from Curious Handmade pattern. Let me find you a photo if I can. It's a paid for pattern, so let me just show you that. And it is designed to use up mini skeins, an advent calendar mini skeins. Or it's going to be the Dust of Snow wrap, which again is a Helen Stewart one, which she did this year as part of her like advent pattern releases. So either way, and there's a good chance actually it might grow up into being both plus a pair of socks, because I think Tracy said that she got that out of hers. We're going to have a go and see how far we get. But I have to finish my dotted rays shawl before I start this. That is my rule. Which is making me a little bit sad, because especially now I've squished it, I'm like, oh my gosh. My final sort of about to be made or soon to make is living in this little organza bag. And it's going to, let me show you the yarn first of all, because it's quite interesting. This is from Crochet UK, which, yeah, it's crochet-uk.co.uk, and it is a gradient cake. Oh my goodness me, look at those colours. This is 50% cotton, 50% acrylic, and it's a 4-ply, and you do actually see the individual plies. So it comes with like little beads on the end, so that as you crochet you sort of slide the beads down and it helps stop it from splitting as much, which I'm quite intrigued to try. This colourway is called Troro, which is actually where I was born. So I saw on Ravelry a wrap designed by Lisa Cook. Is it Lisa Cook from Lisa's Attic? Possibly. And I think it's a Shellscape wrap or something. I'm going to have to check. Okay, so yes, it is the Shellscape wrap by Lisa Cook, who is Lisa's Attic on Ravelry. And this was made by Hookery Crochet. And it's this. Let me see if I get that to show okay. Oh, I just saw it and I was like, oh my word, need. So, yarn ordered, hook lined up, excited, need to buy the pattern, and then I'm going to crack on with this. I'm not going to make myself finish anything else, but I am waiting to start these 2 new projects plus a new sock, because I need sock knitting once the dotted rays shawl is finished. So the final thing that I was going to share with you was my planner and how I've been using that this year. I've got a little section in here called Enjoy, and it's where I've been logging my crochet things that I've been making, my reading things, because I've been really trying to read a lot more this year. I realised that last year I think I read a total of about 2 books, which is just, you know, I was the kid that went through 10 books a week. Yes, that is occasionally 2 a day. So for me to read hardly anything is just so not me. And over the past few years, reading has definitely been something that's taken a back seat. Partly because of being busier, partly because of family stuff, partly because it's hard to read when you've got a crochet hook in your hand. But also because I just found that it was almost like I got too emotionally involved in the story, and I was getting upset sometimes by what I was reading. It was like I was mirroring what was in the book, and so I had to be really careful what I was reading. Which, having said all that, given I've started this year by reading Agatha Christie and murders and mysteries, I promise I am not reflecting murder mysteries, okay? But they're very easy read, so, and they're quite enjoyable. So in my little Enjoy section, I also have a list of my works in progress. So that's there. And I added in my Sweet Pea blanket tracker. So I used the stickers that I had designed for this just to keep track of each part. And inspired by Sandra of the Cherry Heart blog and podcast, I've also got a yarn tracker for this year. So the top section shows what I've used and the bottom section is what's come in. Now, the eagle-eyed among you will have noticed that my top section, one square is 50 grams for the out, and in the bottom one square is 100 grams for the in. That is because, well, you buy it in 100 grams, don't you? But if I do a pair of socks, that's generally about 50 grams. So it was perfectly logical to do it that way. It wasn't at all to make it look like I was using a lot more than I was buying. So yeah, so that's been really nice to have just in the back of my planner, just little notes for on the go. And I need to add in as well, because I've got it written just on a piece of paper at the moment, my sock recipe for me, because I've finally got that sorted in terms of the length where I put my afterthought heel and things from the toe. So having made a few pairs, I'm quite confident now in what I want from that. So I think that's pretty much everything for today, really. Certainly been a content heavy episode because it has been so long since my last my last podcast. And as I say, you know, that's just happened because every time I thought I'm going to sit down and film, I just didn't feel like it. And I don't believe that, especially face-to-face camera stuff, that you should do when you're not really feeling it. I have felt quite guilty about it, especially as I've had such lovely comments on previous episodes saying, "Oh, love your podcast, when's the next episode? I can't wait for the next episode." And I felt quite bad about it, not getting it out. And it's been that thing that I've just kept kind of going, "Oh, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next week." I tell you, in my planner, it's moved from week to week to week to week to week for about 9 weeks now, which is not really what I wanted to happen. But that is what has happened. So I am setting myself a goal to film once a month for this. YouTube as a whole actually has taken a bit of a backstage. You know what I mean. I haven't filmed very much on YouTube generally in the last couple of months anyway. I think Christmas, December, there's been some family stuff going on. I've been really focused as well in the last couple of months on keeping myself well through winter. In terms of my mood and sort of mental health. You know, I've spoken before about that, you know, I live with depression. I don't like to say that I've recovered, because as soon as I think, oh, I'm fine, everything kind of goes again. So it is something which I have to work at, keeping myself well, and that means that sometimes there are things that just slip off the radar, and YouTube videos has been one of them. I've been doing obviously my new release videos, I've been doing some of the Cocoa Daisy unboxing videos, the odd other thing, but I haven't really been filming, you know, week in, week out, which I did used to do. I would like to get back to that. I would like to get back to that and putting up some content. And I know that many of you will be here for the knitting and the crochet and the sewing perhaps, and that's awesome. And if that's what you're here on my channel for, thank you so much. I'm really glad you are here. You are very, very welcome. But it'd be great perhaps if you had a look at some of my other stuff as well, and maybe let me know what other things you might like to see on the channel. I can always, you know, take ideas on board and see what we move forward with. But for now, I'm going to stop waffling. I'm going to go and make another cup of tea, because I'm going to film a planner flip through, I think, now, since it's the start of March. I think that would be a good thing to do. And until next time, most lovely, lovely people, I hope you enjoy your crochet, your knitting, your sewing, your making, your creating, and I shall speak to you again next time. Take care for now. Luke? Luke, are you looking for the list? Yeah. It's on the top of the stairs. I actually sent you a photo of it. Top of the banisters.
You sent me a photo?
I did, yes, because I realised you'd forgotten it.
Yeah, I was going to ask for it.
No, look, there's your message. Probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. Okay.
Thanks.
Bye. You know what I mean. I don't know what I mean. Does anybody know what I mean?